Welcome to Intuitive Intentions on the BGC Network with Bernadette Goko Conley and Trinity Lauren Conley. Last week, or the week before, I showed you the self-portrait of my daughter Trinity that she painted. Today, I'd like to highlight or feature two of her other works, masterpieces. One is this space alien cowboy, and the other is a portrait of her friend chilling on her couch. Yes, my daughter, the artista. And then this is my daughter. And she is wearing a stole I made especially for this show for my cult followers of the goddess and priestess cult. This was from a pattern I learned from Crochet Now on YouTube, and supposedly it's a pattern from the Japanese, and that's how the Japanese supposedly crochet. At least that's what the description said on the channel. So we are using the Edgar Allan Poe Literary Arts Tarot by Edgar Purviance.
Yep. Let's shuffle these. Okay. Let's pull 4 cards. First we have the Raven.
Ooh, the Raven.
That's a popular one. That's one that I actually kind of know.
Yes.
It's where that guy is like haunted by a raven, like pecking at his window.
Yes. He just lost his wife Lenore. And some depiction shows him keeping the dead body in his basement, I think,
scary.
like keeping it kind of like alive in his presence. And this raven comes and raps on his chamber door.
Okay, next is Mothers. Third is a symbol and a token.
Ooh, a symbol and a token.
And one more card.
Okay.
Ooh, this is cool. It's called The Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, the Fall of the House of Usher. I know that one too, but I can't relate it right now. But I remember reading that in high school.
Cool.
Okay, so first card pulled was the Raven.
Raven, let me check the description. Raven is 19. It's of the air and fire element. Settled despair, comfortable despondency, grief causing hypersensitivity, prolonged grief becoming part of one's personality, hoping for ghosts but finding nothing, the grayness of normalcy during periods of grief, stagnant grief, self-harm through hyperfixation on your pain.
Interesting.
So maybe it's just telling us to brace for moments in this week where we might get hung up on the past. And, I think grief and, feeling sad for things that we enjoyed in the past that we no longer can is okay, and there's a time for it, but also not getting stuck on it. Like, it's good to stay in the present moment in everything
Yes.
that you're doing.
Yes, and it is a choice. You have free will. This raven here seems to be pecking at his wings because there's some kind of irritation there, and it reminds me of my skin condition that when it starts to, flare up, I just can't help picking at it when I know I shouldn't. And I have to choose life, choose healing. And if you keep picking at the sore, it's not going to heal. It's counterproductive. So you can't keep pecking at it like this raven is doing. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, what do they call it? Like those instant gratification things that won't help us in the long run. Like,
yeah,
it might feel good now, picking that or itching that, but
it just makes it worse.
It just makes it worse.
Yeah, put some calming balm on it and cover it. You have that prerogative.
Yeah. Can we think of any affirmations that are calming balms for the week?
Well, I think that if we start to feel those low vibrational energies or emotions, we need to switch it just like a light switch on the wall, just like a flip-flop on a circuit board. You just need to flip that switch to feel the opposite. Like, say for instance, you're feeling sorrow or sadness, that's low vibrational frequency. To switch that, just go to the opposite of it, which is happiness. How do you find happiness? Surround yourself with things that you love, the things that make you happy and glad. Play some music that would inspire you or lift your spirits up. If you're a Christian, praise the Lord. Put on some worship music. Just, you have to be responsible for what it is that is happening to you. Your responsibility is how you experience life, and most of us would like to experience life in a good way. So I think that, again, that comes down to choice. Do you want to keep feeling this same, draggy feeling, or do you want to just snap out of it and do something great, paint a picture, or write a story or whatever?
Yeah, it's good to remember that we have the power to feel sad, but we also have the power to choose happiness or choose positivity. Like, we're just as capable to feel both things. And what I've been doing is just writing a list of the things that I know are happy triggers, things that
good.
maybe a list of songs or a funny thought or a funny joke, just something that makes you laugh.
Right.
And I've been reading this book called Ritual by Damien Eccles and Lori Davis. They're YouTubers, or Damien Eccles is a YouTuber, and they talk about the technique of visualizing a vacuum to suck out your negative emotions. So just breathing in and then calling upon all of the things that are making you feel crappy, my itchy arm, or my anxiety, or my fear, or my chronic pain or something. You just blow it out and just visualize it going into a vacuum into the center of the earth, and picture that negative emotion or negative feeling and it transforming into energy in the core of the earth. Wow. That you can draw energy from later. It's really cool.
That's amazing. That's the epitome of a calming balm, just even picturing that in your mind.
Yeah. So the next card is mothers, and I really like how that image is. It reminds me of that. Isn't there like a classic painting of like a woman in a rocking chair that's kind of similar?
Oh
to that?
yes,
I don't know
you're right.
that is.
Winchester's
I have
something.
no idea.
Yeah,
But let me see.
mothers. Now this reminds me. These symbols here, they look like earthworms or some kind of.
That means it's an earth symbol card.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense because earth and water elements are associated with feminine energy. It's like motherly energy, I guess.
Right. So that goes together.
So is it just worms?
Yeah, it's just worms.
Okay, so earth. Oh, this is card 71. Let's see.
Mother Earth, too. Earth is our mother because we come from the earth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the booklet says mothers, earth element. Early sorrows with a mother figure leads to cautious yet affectionate attention towards current mother figures. Mm-hmm. A source of joy and personal stability. Be aware of any patriarchal inclinations you may have. Be a good relative. Having and showing appreciation for your mothers.
Oh, interesting.
Cool. So this card is kind of a call to action, and maybe it's to remind us that, like, as we go through our week, as we interact with people that, like, you know, I mean, for me, I notice when I get irritated with people, it's because I notice something in them that I don't like that I do, like kind of like a shadow self thing. So maybe it's a time to like nurture those shadow sides, or kind of really reflect on like, why is that, like, why does that trigger you, or like, why does that irritate you about something somebody does, or like.
Yes. I was just gonna say that we can be a mother to ourselves.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that source of joy that we cherish from our, mothers, where we come from, can be us nurturing and giving joy to that baby inside of us, or that, inner child.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Rocking that inner child, loving it and embracing it and saying it's okay, everything's gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm. That's good advice.
Okay, so the next card was
a symbol and a token, and
symbol
it looks
and a
like
token.
It's air and water.
Air and water, yes.
Symbol and a token is
symbol
card,
here is a bird.
23.
And the other symbol is a drop of water. That's how we got
symbol and a token, air and water element. You may be privy to information that others are not. What you do with this information is up to you. Information understood subconsciously, subliminally. Effort is needed to untangle the knot and bring the information to conscious awareness. Also, this card represents magical thinking.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah, magical thinking is something that I just heard about on YouTube, because I watch a lot of YouTube and a lot of like psychology ones. Because it's like I never get to see my therapist, so I just go on YouTube to listen to YouTube therapists. And they talk about magical thinking of, it seems like it's connected to like procrastination or something. And like just like a way to cope, I guess, is like thinking like, oh, by tomorrow I'll feel like doing this, or tomorrow things will just magically be better. And I do kind of believe sometimes that that's possible. But anyway, what do we think of this card specifically, and a call to action for the week?
I think it has to do with your frame of mind and the thoughts that run through your head. A lot of it is external perception of how you think others see you. And you just have to kind of observe those thoughts like clouds passing by on a breezy day. And, grab those thoughts that are life affirming, that validate you, the authentic you. And in that way, whatever you think of, you will feel. So choose to think of those things that are good, that are noble and lovely, things that uplift you, motivate you, and inspire you. And then you will start to feel those, good vibes, I think.
Just thinking about what it said in the booklet about like secrets and information, like just it makes me think that about being grateful for being trusted, and it just makes me think of like the value of being trusted and the value of being someone that someone can come to you in confidentiality. I think that's a good quality to have.
Oh yeah, definitely. You don't want to be a gossip.
That can get you a lot of like blessings in life, because like the more people trust you, the more opportunities you can get. I think.
And I think too, this has to do with things that about you that is revealed to you by you. It's like things that maybe have been repressed or blocked, and it starts to rise and come to mind, and instead of it being used as a trigger, but just to like try to understand it, and it will reveal more of who you are, I think. Like a revelation of yourself, like a secret that you yourself don't even know about you.
Whoa, that's cool. Okay, and then the last card, the fall of the House of Usher, looks like air and earth.
Air.
Card 27. Whoa, this is a long description. Okay, the fall of the House of Usher, air and earth element, habitual excessive personal reserve, which impacts your ability to have social relationships, hypochondria, digging oneself into a morbid hole, bewitching oneself to death, mental emotional decay, being mentally oppressed by personal familial circumstances and habits, a rut, a progressive emotional haunting of a place or person, being trapped in a groove, iciness, sinking, sickening of the heart, dropping of the veil, the present seeming heavier than the past, being trapped in a situation that sickens you, the futility of seeking levity from a bad atmosphere, knowing when to leave an untenable situation, the crashing of towers.
That is like my worst nightmare, to be trapped in a corner. I mean, that's a fear of mine that I think causes me to be antisocial.
I think this card, although it brings to mind some terrifying feelings, I think it's like kind of telling us that we have the power to get, like, don't feel stuck it might seem like you're stuck, but like you can there's a way. There's a way out.
And I think if you have the attitude of being game for anything, I mean, of course, you have your own filters and your intuition will tell you, you know, which game to join. But if you have like that kind of childlike quality of being fun and playful, even if you're antisocial like me, you can overcome that fear of being trapped by being playful. Like, here's an example. During a Christmas party, it was an outdoor Christmas party, and there was a outdoor fire place, and everybody's like gathered around this fireplace, and they're calling me to be part of that circle around the fireplace. And I'm like, no, thank you, because I don't want to be stuck in there.
Yeah.
And the people that were inviting me I could feel some kind of, you know, like kind of offended by me saying that.
Uh-huh.
Well, just this one particular person I thought was kind of like snooty about it, but I was just like telling the truth, you know, letting them know I just don't want to be stuck in that circle. I want to be free, is what I said. And I started dancing around.
To be free. You twirled off the stage.
I twirled off the circle. Bounced off the circle. So anyway, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's good to just like do your own thing. Like, everyone has their own way of like having fun, and like don't feel bad for, you know, not wanting to be social to have fun. Like, I think that's totally fine. Or like, you know, having to sit around and make small talk around a fire when you don't want to. I get it. Yeah, totally. An anecdote that I could think of, because it makes me think of like being stuck at a job, maybe. And I was trying to give a friend some advice because they were like, oh, I don't want to go to work today. And I was like, hey, here's a trick that I do. Like, I kind of, this might be bad, but like, I put myself in like a dissociative state where I pretend that I'm a movie character that's gonna get through this. Like, it's maybe I just think of a movie where like somebody's in a shitty work situation, but they get out of it and they have a happy ending. So it's like, I kind of like, it's kind of like you can play pretend, like just play pretend, like
make a game
you're gonna
out of
get
it.
Through it. Yeah, and it makes it like less like, oh gosh, I'm stuck. Know,
that reminds me of that show, Russian Doll.
Good one.
Right?
Which part
of it?
Remember
when she just like wakes up into a different reality, but it's the same characters, but it's like a different.
Are we talking season 2 or season?
I'm talking about season 1.
Oh, where she dies and she wakes up in the same place.
It's kind of like that. She was like playing around with it,
right? Like on like different ways to like do it, or like to make it
different than the day before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, so just keep that like playfulness. And
and I think it's like, you know, part of the process of self-discovery is to find something new or evolving from the usual. You know, like be a different character, right? Every day you're a different character.
Yeah. And just feel empowered. Like, I just try to feel as empowered as I can if I'm feeling like helpless in a situation, like just realizing that I have the power to change my mood about something, my attitude, by looking forward with gratitude and being present with what is good in my life, or like just doing make believe and like
I mean that's what makes it fun.
Get better, Or like,
for me, I'm at the
mood.
stage of my life where I'm like, I can go from maiden to mother to crone. I'm like all 3 in the same body. I'm like Hecate. You know, so I mean, you're at that point where you're still a maiden.
Okay.
And Cindy, for example, she's maiden
Cindy is her
and mother.
daughter-in-law.
Oh yes, Cindy, my daughter-in-law. You know, and me, who is maiden, mother, and crone, all in one body.
Whoa.
So to relate that to the house of the fall of the house of Usher, which talks about, you know, being secluded, I guess being like a hermit. I think it has to do too with the stage of life that you're in. You know, if you're retired and have gone through the experiences of a maiden, a mother, and now a crone, I think the best thing to do is to just share it. Share what you've learned in your life with as many people as possible. And what is the best way of doing that? Social media. And that's why I started this YouTube channel, and so far has been religious and, you know, publishing something every day, except for the weekend. The weekend is for intuitive intentions. Anyway, it's Labor Day tomorrow. That means unofficially the end of summer. Hopefully the weather will calm down and cool off.
But, you know, we're staying cool and we're staying hot. So I hope you got something from today's
I hope
intention.
so too.
I feel like there was some.
It was a little bit difficult today to get started, but we did it. Thank you, Trinity. Namaste. I honor the God in you. Bye.
Bye.